tzadikim. We're in the gate of truth. So he said, be careful, you have to daven properly. You can't daven with falsehood, right? Hashem's, and Hashem, and the tefillah to Hashem. Hashem says what? Their lips are close to me, but their heart is far from me. They la 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 la. But I need the person to really know the words he's saying and really feel that he's speaking the words of truth. Right? We said the story last time. The guy who came back from the trip, and the rabbi told him, "Welcome back on Friday." He said, "What do you mean? I came back yesterday." So you're at tefillah, you left. now you came back after your daydreaming. So I tell you, Shalom Aleichem. So what does David HaMelech say? He says, Hashem, mi yagor be'olecha, mi yishkon behar kodshecha, olech tamim, poel tzedek, dover emet bilvavo. He's describing a righteous person. What does he say? Hashem, who will live in your tent, who will dwell in your holy mountain, who will walk perfectly, perform righteousness, and speak the truth in his heart. So you see that a person who's a tzaddik has to have truth in his heart, not people who are showing one thing and then doing really something else. You know, sometimes you have people who around the rabbis and around synagogue, they're very religious looking. They come with the button down, they put the nice bit of Tom, and they come and they learn Gemara. Yeah, I'm Daf Yomi and Siyum and this, and then when you see him in the restaurant, he's with the hookah and he's cursing and he's not sanua, talking to people in a dirty way, and you see how he laughs and what kind of conversation he carries, and you say, well, what kind of this? What is this? How does this go with this? You know? And what? It's either this is a show or that is a show. And most of the time it's that how he acts in shul is a show. Right? Now, there's wishful thinking. You know, they say, fake it till you make it. That's true, but at the end of the day, it's very dangerous because a person can pretend and think that you can just stay like that. A person who comes to shul, he really wants to grow, he wishes to get that level, and what happens? And then a person is supposed to eventually supposed to become that level. He's supposed to stay there and not do those things anymore. But he thinks he can have two worlds at once. He could go and pray and go to the mikvah and pray nets and do this, do that, and then at the end of the day, just take that hat off. But I remember when I was growing up, there was a guy. He was really good at basketball. We used to go play, and we used to fly out to these tournaments, or whether high school, when we play basketball. So we went to Memphis one time to play in a yeshiva tournament. All the yeshivas from all over flew in for a tournament. So there was one guy there that he was known for. His motto was he was a very cool guy, but he would never starked out. So he said he's from flat hats to black hat. You know, that was like the thing. You know, so the guy thinks he could do this all the time. You're supposed to change the hat, stay a black hat, not flip flop back and forth all the time. So there's some people, they think they can do that. They think they can pretend to be here like this, and then be with those people like that, and with those people like that, and he's just a big pretender, a chameleon for his own pleasure and his own gain, not because it's l'shem shamayim. That's a big problem. So therefore he says, that David HaMelech says, that's not dover ben bilvavo. You're not speaking hard in your truth in your heart. You're just faking out everybody, and that's a very big problem. He says, therefore, even worse than that is people who pretend to be your friend, right? They give you praise, yeah, you're good, and then behind your back, you find all the lashon hara they speak about you, and how he's a piece of garbage, and he's a this, and he's a that, and he comes to you, oh, how are you? Yeah, like this, you know, all that definitely is not a tzaddik. That definitely is. We're not dover emet bilvavo. That's definitely not what David HaMelech is talking about. I'm sorry? Yeah. No, it's not quoted here. Oh, you're saying the next pasuk in Tehillim? Right. Oh, maybe he doesn't go against his word. Maybe he doesn't move from his tongue. Okay, fine. So then he says, so much so that the tzadikim in the Gemara, they used to stick by their heart's truth. What would they do? Even if the famous story, Rabbi Aha, right? He was saying Shema, and the guy came to him to sell, and he already agreed at 20. And the guy thought that he's not responding, so that means that he wants more. So he said, okay, 30, 40, 50, 100, and he still sold it to him for 20. He said, why? I offered you 100. You said no in the beginning. He said, no, it's not because I didn't say no. I was in the middle of Shema, I couldn't answer you that, but I really, in my heart, I agreed at 20. So therefore he gave him for 20. So you see That a person could be a liar in a second. He could say, listen, yeah, I only agreed 100. Yeah, give me 100. Let's take advantage of this guy. Let's squeeze this guy out, right? And that's lies, sheker. How many times people go in business? How much you buy this for? No, I'm not making so much money. I only bought like this. Come on, work with me over here. And he's lying about how much he bought it for, right? Or he goes in a person and he tells them, listen, you understand, now it's a difficult situation, the prices go up, Trump and this and that, inflation, and he's talking the talk, the businessman talk, like, how it is today, and he really is not in a difficult situation, but he makes it look like he's in a difficult situation. Listen, So all this is just trying to force the agenda through lies. And really, he's not affected by any of these things he mentioned. Yeah. He just thinks that these are buzzwords to get the guy's attention to give in. So therefore, a person says, no, all these things are not domer v'mevo. He says, even if the buyer was prepared to give more, he refused to take more than what they agreed upon in their heart. A distinguished person who follows this takes upon himself to always speak the truth. He should write down that thought, lest he'll forget it and violate his thought. The Tzadikim don't lie even in their thoughts. They don't lie. Definitely not against their word. He says, if one speaks the truth in his heart, does not want to think falsehood, even without intending to act upon it, all his words and thoughts will be fulfilled. There's a very big promise from the Gemara. Pasuk in Yov says, Tigzor Omer Vayakom Lach. It says in Yov, you will decree a word, it will be fulfilled. And who is that talking about? The guy who always speaks the truth. If you don't go against what you say, and definitely what you plan on doing, it's a segula from the Gemara. Everything you say, people will listen to you. You say to your employees, this is what we're going to do, and this is what you're going to do, and this is what you're going to do, and you're not going to fight, you're going to behave, and his kids, you're going to go home, you're going to do your homework, you're going to shower, you're going to go to bed at this time. He tells his wife, he tells his friends, he tells everybody, please do this. They're gonna get it done. They're not gonna fight you. They're gonna listen to you. They're gonna say, yeah, you're right. Sometimes they know who said, why, I don't agree. No, you're gonna have this magical power that people are gonna listen to you. They're gonna say, yeah, what he says, yeah, I should do it. You're gonna be in a way like a holy, like a tzaddik, guzer makayem, whatever he says that gives bracha. Why? That's the power of a person always keeps his word, and you'll decree a word to be fulfilled. One who is a man of truth in all his dealings, both in business and in lending, will find that his final figure, he will always state his final figure in the very beginning, so that all those who deal with him will know that he'll not change it. He'll not go up and down. What happens? You know how many times people do this? I come to sell you something. Okay, I have this. You interested in buying? So yeah, of course. So he says, okay. So no, what's your price? So the buyer says, no, what are you selling it for? Says, no, you give a price. No, you give a price. My friend, it's your watch, it's your price. You have to tell me what your price is. No, you're buying, you have to give me the price. Each one wants to see which one could throw himself in the dirt first, right? Yeah. Who's gonna make themselves say over, right? Because why should I say? Maybe he was willing to pay more. If he would have said so, he'll shoot himself more in the foot. All this is a person who's not fully, see-through, transparent. Yeah. A guy who is honest and truthful, he will always say his final figure in the beginning. He says, this is what I'm looking to sell for. This is the profit I'm looking to make. I'm being very transparent with you. Yes, no, that's it. And you will see people appreciate that more. People will say, I'd rather go to this guy. I know what he's making, but I know he's going to be honest with me. I'd rather pay, have no headache, go to him than go to this guy, maybe make a buck or two and have a whole headache, like this, like that, like this, stories all the time. I'd rather go to this guy, I know what I'm getting, I know the pros, I know the cons, transparent. And therefore, you're going to have bracha. So therefore, he says he should put it down in writing and bring what he has written and glance at it before he enters his transactions. He should do the same thing in the study hall and on his table, so he should remember and not speak falsely. A person doesn't have a good memory when he gives a speech. He says Dvar Torah at the table, so bring it in writing, bring the book with you, bring the Dvar Torah with you, bring the story with you. I know a guy who has a horrible memory. He can't speak anywhere. So every speech he gives in a toast, in a family event, he gets up, he takes out his phone, and he reads word for word what he wrote. He says, I'm sorry, I have a very bad memory. I read line by line. But what he tries, he remembers. He doesn't say, I forgot, it is what it is, or he makes up. Some people make it up as they go. And a person has to make sure they don't have to speak lies over there as well. As the Gemara says, a certain person wrote on the walls of his house, on the wall of his study hall, remember the day of death and do not sin. One who speaks the truth will live and have longevity. As it says Yichyeh ve'yarich yamim v'yinatzeh. Zechor yom yitav v'lo tichta. So the Gemara Sanhedrin says, the one who live a long life was who? Is a person who speaks the truth. As it says, Hashem Elokim emet, hu Elokim chayim melech olam. As it says in the pasuk, the God is the one of truth, is the one who lives. The living God, meaning forever and ever. So then that sort of person gets also. There, Yaakov Kornetsky, they asked him, why do you have lived such a long life? He says, an untrue word never left my lips. There's a famous story of Yaakov Kamenetsky, I remember, where he said to one of his students, asked him, why don't you wear Rabbeinu Tam? Rabbeinu Tam? He said, it's a good question. And he said, you know what, I don't wear Rabbeinu Tam because only when I get to my Rosh Hashiva's age, when my Rosh Hashiva starts, when he started wearing Rabbeinu Tam, that's when I'll start wearing Rabbeinu Tam. So his Rosh Hashiva was like maybe, when he started wearing Rabbeinu Tam, his Rebbe started wearing it when he was maybe 65, something like that. So Rabbi Yaakov Kornetsky was in his like 30s, 40s, whatever it was. So one day, randomly, many years later, in Yeshiva, they start seeing Rabbi Yaakov Kornetsky wearing Rabbeinu Tam. So why all of a sudden today you start wearing Rabbeinu Tam? He says, I reached 65. I made a promise 20-something years ago. I said, when I reach my rabbi's age, that's when I start wearing Rabbeinu Tam. So now that's it. Today is the day. I have to start wearing it. You see, this person remembered what he said 20-something years ago, and he's keeping to it because he says that's the zuchud for living a long life. He says, I never said anything, didn't keep it, never said anything untrue in my life. Baruch